Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. Like usual, we're going on in, but I want to just throw a disclaimer that there was a lot, and I mean a lot of articles about many different pretty big companies and their them either developing something on the blockchain or something that's almost ready for them to test, or they're testing right now. There was like a good handful of those articles that I did not include, but just know that big money is in fact developing and pouring into Bitcoin, or really the wider crypto network or blockchain network in total. And they will 100% be coming to the table with their own technology mostly, but expect that to give confidence even more so with other third-party institutions, since all of these big established companies are going to be using the underlying technology. So now, with that little disclaimer out, on to the news. First of all, regional regulators in North America are watching ICOs. This is basically entirely because of the ICOs and the fact that they can be interpreted as a security in America. And because they can be interpreted as a security, they're watching out for them. Probably watching out to see, jailing people for frauding investors and such, and expect them to keep a heavy eye on and swoop down whenever any kind of regulation passes. They will hit hard on whoever is in their path. You can believe that. Next up, this one I'm not sure if I talked about this last time. I feel like it did, but I looked through the notes again and I didn't see it. And it was the Tezos fighting, how the couple kind of went against the other guy who was more so leading the Swiss foundation that they kind of was partnered up with or something. But that's the gist of the situation. And because, Bitcoin's balling out of control, their ICO's worth even more. And it seems like this might just be a game of greed going on, that somebody on one side or both sides just want control of that 400 million that their 200 million and something turned into. And that's what's been portrayed as. I feel like we haven't got the full story, far from it, so can't really lay a verdict down on who is wrong in this situation of ICO drama. But one thing's a fact is that this is bad for anyone who looked into this. And it looked really good for most people, but I don't think anyone thought it was more than just the wife and husband combination, but it was, and that apparently spelled danger. So just watch out. Just because concept's good, sometimes the team can come out later and just destroy everything or halt it down or slow it or whatever. So keep that in mind when thinking you got a unicorn on your hands, but your pick's actually a hidden time bomb waiting to happen. Japanese cryptocurrency exchange manager arrested for fraud, Ripple fraud specifically. He was arrested for only a measly sum of 12,000. And why I say measly, because there's been typically massive frauds when you're over an exchange and actually do fraud. But He also has some other allegations against him. The fact that he set up a fake tokens and they're all just IOUs leads the authorities to suspect that he is actually made profits of over 120 million yen, which I guess that means around 100,000 something, 120,000 something, maybe 140,000, something like that. I don't really know the conversion. I know it's roughly 100-ish difference. But yeah, this means this guy possibly frauded people for a lot of money. But how much did he personally get is pretty unclear, because also it was he advertised his company as no fees, but when he was actually taking fees, and possibly had accrued more than 10 million out of the user base on the website. So more than likely he has a crazy amount of yen, millions and millions of yen, a couple 100,000 in dollar form, but now he's gone. He's got caught for what he was doing, and it was rough on him, I guess. Next up is that the Inspector General, U.S. Mint, should consider Bitcoin's impact. And that's simply them realizing that blockchain and Bitcoin has a significant chance to disrupt a lot. So they're just keeping an eye on it to see where they can utilize this underlying technology in whatever they're doing. And segueing to another government role, the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, said Bitcoin on the dark web is a big problem. And this kind of is worrying, because we know the current administration sometimes has knee-jerk reactions. And not only that the senators tend to be older people that may not fully understand the entire potential of Bitcoin and blockchain can offer. So I would not be surprised to see some kind of backlash against Bitcoin if this can become an issue. I don't think it will become an issue until we see some kind of terrorist or massive cartel related issue pop up. It'd be pretty hard to scapegoat Bitcoin unless, people died. But you never know what can happen. I'm just kind of worried about this this kind of tone that's Jeff Sessions setting, because it really does seem like, in all possibility, there would be harsher regulations in acquiring Bitcoin, or more extensive identification to go on, which in the end really won't stop anyone who's really trying to do something and they have the big enough connections to do it, because all they have to do is find alternative ways into turning cash into Bitcoin. They don't have to use local Bitcoin. They don't have to use any of that. They might even buy into mining rigs just to mine some stuff occasionally. I don't know, but it won't stop criminals. This is the bottom line. They will find a way to trade up, somehow trade with other people. Just, I don't expect at all for any kind of heavy restriction on getting Bitcoin to actually stop the dark web marketplace. For the perfect solution here would just be targeting the marketplaces rather than individuals, and then trying to bust up big people. Like, don't target the Bitcoin network, don't target people who just want to buy coins, just target the websites and try to take over them, because they've done it before where they take over a website, install Java, and if you log in, they send a JavaScript to basically monitor you from now on. So keep in mind that, and hopefully we won't have any kind of even worse regulation here in America for cryptocurrency, because if we did, it'd be rough. It'd be real rough out here. And here's a PSA. The new MyMonero. There's a new MyMonero phishing site that is in fact showing up on Google search. So with this phishing site, apparently the R is kind of wonky. So that's how you can tell between the real one and the fake one. The R on the fake one has like a dots around the bottom of it or something. So just be aware, just in general, that there's a lot of phishing that goes on for really big coins, and be careful where you enter your account information, because for a fact you may be even doing the wrong account or dealing with the wrong person. You don't know it, so just be careful with that, because that can be a big issue. And Russia's government is testing blockchain as a land registry system. This is interesting, and the fact that it's state sponsored makes it even more interesting. The way it sounds like this process actually is kind of expensive to do with the current capabilities, so a blockchain solution would actually streamline it incredibly much. But beyond that, I don't really know. I just kind of read what was there. I don't really care for I don't really care too much about the details of a land registry system. Just the fact that it's a thing. Russia's really pushing for crypto. Kind of surprising. I feel like they're trying to go to China route without outright banning it. So they're trying to like set up their own thing that they control, but outright banning people, they know that you killed the environment. You're just gonna not see the money in your country at all. So that's that. Maybe more countries will adopt this if it's a success, because many other countries already use a similar land registry system. They're not just using blockchain though, so they could adopt blockchain and then use it. But as always, we'll see. I'd have a lot more optimism for it if it was for a different country, but we will see. Since they're really trying to, like I said earlier, modernize into the digital age or whatever. This final piece here is the fact that LedgerX was going insane with how much they were trading the first week. No, wait, there's more. We're not done. LedgerX, though. So this LedgerX exchange opened up for trading. This is kind of more, I'd say, a proper exchange. I guess in comparison to what usually is open. And it's also a New York-based startup, which is kind of insane. Because the fact that New York is really like difficult to establish anything crypto related. But the company saw 176 swaps on this platform. Oh, it's a derivative trade exchange. But yeah, it's all 176 swaps, and the value was over $1 million. And this is in its first week, which for a launch of any kind of new kind of technology, new startup, 1 million in the first official launch week is kind of insane. Well, they're trading at $1 million on their platform. They probably got 1 to 3% of that, but whatever. But my mind's more like blown to the fact that this is a New York-based startup. It's kind of making me wonder if they're based out of New York and went through the whole license process for New York specifically. That's something curious. But moving along, this just tells us that the U.S. startups are not dead. That there will be some competition from the U.S. in the blockchain world that isn't just massive corporations. But if the regulation wasn't as dumb right now in America, we'd be seeing much more. But we'd probably also be seeing many more ICO scams as such that we were seeing at the very start of the summer. 3 more articles. Next up, money at risk. So this one's really about mobile wallets, and I completely agree that you should really be careful with mobile wallets. They are convenient, but as you'll understand that mobile wallets do not have the full blockchain, which means they're using this kind of mechanism that's called simplified payments, basically. And this means whatever has the most hash power, that's kind of the block that the mobile wallet is accessing. Block, like the chain that the mobile wallet is accessing to send off data to and fro, And when forks happen, such as the possible Bitcoin Gold or the 2x, that poses a problem because these mobile apps can't deal with miners shifting between 2 different coins. This would lead, without replay protection, this would lead to you spending your Bitcoin on Bitcoin Gold, or kind of sending both off at once, or sending one off accidentally because they're technically on the same chain, because these wallets don't understand how to differentiate. So if you use mobile wallets, really, one, move yourself to a desktop wallet, and 2, if that's not an option, you should really just hang tight and not move your coins until kind of this situation resolves. For now, you're still good because the fork isn't really happening. But once one of the forks start going, you need to just chill out and not move your coins, because it does have a very, very big drawback. If you move your coins around, you could just lose all of them accidentally, especially if you're using one of the forked coins and moving that one, and accidentally moving your Bitcoin and losing that those would be terrible. So be careful, guys. When the fork comes up, don't use mobile wallets. Next up is Coinbase claims that the Bitcoin Gold fork already happened. So I reported on this 3 weeks ago, something like that. It was in October, about how there was already kind of rumors about Bitcoin Gold. The fact that they already had their fork set in at around September something, that's when the block hit, and the fact that I think it was first they had the block, the distribution of the coin, they pre-mined some and gave it to the founders. So many thought this was a prime scam, and it very may have someone who is scamming, but I think they really shouldn't be there really shouldn't be anyone hype about this Bitcoin Gold. It's really at risk. I don't think I'd ever say this, but 2x is way more organized in comparison to even this. And 2x is pretty sloppy. Like, their side is sloppy. With Bitcoin Gold, it's almost non-existent. Dev team, you basically have no information about who's developing it, who's marketing it, who's in charge of it. You have none of that with this Bitcoin Gold, really, and it's basically super sketch. I don't believe it at all. So just be careful with this next fork, because between this and then the issue with wallets, you might want to lose out on the massive gains from instantly selling one of the coins, and instead kind of take it easy and simple if you have a decent amount of Bitcoins, and just kind of wait till all this kind of fades away. And the last thing we're here to talk about is the fact that buying real things like groceries or food at a restaurant with Bitcoin may actually mean you have to pay taxes beyond just the sales tax. Like, you'd have to pay technically a property tax. So the whole thing is the laws are not meant for blockchain, but there's potentially a new law that could pass that basically helps alleviate this issue. I think it sets a limit that this amount of crypto doesn't need to be taxed, because whatever, it's like $600. I think that's a little weak, but it's a thing. So if you're planning on to use crypto kind of how it was meant to be, no speculation and more usage, then there you go. You now somewhere highly expensive to eat. You can buy whatever possibly in the near future without paying taxes. So you could buy whatever expensive food you want and not pay even more for it, because possibly the legislative branch of America are releasing a new bill that will ensure that you have around $600 of crypto that doesn't have to worry about taxes for spending or returning to cash. So if this actually becomes a piece of law, that's good. That's a win. But I think it's gonna be a while before we see anything about the status of this law. But I'll be looking out for it. And this is the end of the episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. Now I will have a link to something new, and this something new is a Telegram group. So join the Telegram group for access to a new community I'm building. This little Crypto Spendthrift community. There's already 2 people in it, me and someone else. So join up. The link to the Telegram group will be in the Steam It post. It'll also be in the Facebook post, possibly. I don't know how Facebook is with Telegram, but it'll probably be in the Facebook post too. So look at those 2 places, Steam It, Facebook, and there you go. So join the Telegram group and have some chats. Talk about the podcast, talk about crypto, whatever. You'll have more instant access to me than you would emailing me, because depending on the content of the email, it really depends if I reply. Just because more salesy stuff is a no-go if I actually don't either A, like what's there, or B, don't fully understand why this is a thing. Usually I don't have a problem understanding the concept, I just have a problem understanding why bothering with the concept. And those are the main 2 reasons. I probably want to respond to things. Asking questions, like general questions, I'll always respond to as quick as possible. Kind of busy sometimes, but got a question to respond. So that's why I'm creating the Telegram group. You'll get faster responses because it's to my phone instead of on the computer. So join up. And see you Thursday for the next episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast.